The World Cup ended just a few weeks ago, so I sat down and started writing out every way a contractor can actually get a lead. Not theory, but real ways that real companies are using right now to put jobs on the board and make money. I ended up blowing past 16 in just a couple of minutes. So I cut it down. I wrote down the top 16 channels in my mind, and here's how I picked them. These are ones that, yes, we are running some of these for our clients. Some of these things are things that we sell, and I'm not gonna hide that. Some of these things are things that our clients are doing that have nothing to do with us, but we've watched work from the sidelines. And a couple of these are things I'm doing in other businesses that we own that have been effective. I left plenty of them out as well. So home shows, cold calling, next door app, buying somebody's book of business, all real, all working for somebody else. 16 was the number I did in order to create this bracket, and these 16 are where the overwhelming majority of contractor revenue actually comes from what I've seen. Then I seeded all 16 like a World Cup round of 16 bracket and ran them head to head. Now, let me get the obvious thing out of the way. Of course, I am a digital marketer. That's my bias, and I'm not gonna pretend it isn't sitting in this room. But I'm also a business owner who's owned other businesses as well, who has to make payroll, and that guy does not care which channel is trendy or which one has the best margin for a lot of our clients when we're running it inside of our agency. This is someone who cares about which one puts money in your pocket. That's the guy who filled out this bracket. So I didn't do it on a gut feeling. I built a scorecard, scored all 16 on the exact same 5 things, and let the seeding land where it landed. You'll see the whole thing in just a minute, and of course you can argue with every single number on it. I then seeded 1 against 16, winner moves on, and there's an upset in here that's gonna probably annoy some people. A 3 seed that goes out in the quarterfinals, and by the end of this, you're gonna know which channels, in my opinion, deserve your attention and budget, and which ones maybe you've been funding just out of habit. So here we go. Bracket is on the screen. Let's get started. Here's the bracket right here. You'll see everything get started here in the round of 16. And one quick thing before the first round, because I already know what you're thinking. Of course, the marketing agency guy ranked marketing stuff at top. Here's the scorecard. Every channel got scored on 5 main criteria. Cost per acquired job, not cost per lead, not cost per sold job. Close rate, speed to lead or speed to first job, scale ceiling, and ownership. Do you actually own the asset, or are you renting it from a platform that can change the rules? And scale ceiling counts for double. That's the one thing that decides this whole tournament, so let me defend that right now. If you're doing 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, you don't have a quality problem, you have a ceiling problem a lot of times. Something that is producing great work for you, and it just won't produce more of it. So a channel that closes at 80% but taps out at 40 jobs per year is going to lose in this bracket to a channel that closes at 30% and never taps out. That's the math. Yes, if you want to disagree with the score, great. Put it in the comments with your number and your trade, and I'll read every single one of them. So going back to the bracket, we have 1 versus 16, Google Business Profile versus radio, TV, and billboards. This is the 60-0 game every tournament has. Google Business Profile is the map pack. It's free, it's the highest intent real estate that exists. Somebody typing in emergency roof repair near me is not researching, they are buying. And it scales with your service area and with your review velocity. Radio, TV, billboards, you're paying to interrupt 10,000 people. So the 11 who need you today might remember your name. It's not that it doesn't work, it's that you can't always effectively measure it, and you cannot turn it up on a Tuesday because you're slow, and the entry price locks out most of the people watching this. So the winner here is Google Business Profile, and it's not close. Then we have the 8-9 matchup. We have meta ads versus owner-led short-form video. Now this one's actually interesting because they live on the same platforms but do completely opposite things. Meta ads buys attention, owner-led videos earn it. The video compounds. A piece you posted 8 months ago is still getting you jobs organically, potentially, and you own the audience. Meta ads stop the second that you stop paying for them. But here's why I'm picking Meta in this one. Speed and ceiling. You can be in market getting these ads up and running tomorrow with a budget you can control. Organic video can take 9 to 18 months of consistent posting before it moves to revenue. And most contractors, as we know, are going to quit at month 4. So the winner here is Meta ads. And I'll say this, if you're going to do organic video, do it and run ads. The video makes the ads cheaper and more effective. Then we have the 5-12 matchup with referrals and word of mouth versus direct mail. Referrals close at somewhere between 60 and 80% for most home service businesses. There is no channel on this board that touches that. Direct mail is running at a fraction of a percent response rate, and it's fighting rising postage, and it can get pretty expensive. Direct mail does have one thing going for it, and that's geographic precision. So if a storm hits a neighborhood, you can DM that zip code, and that works great. But it's a situational tool and not a growth engine, in my opinion. So the winner here is referrals. Moving on to the 4-13 matchup, we have website and local SEO versus community and sponsorships. SEO is the slowest channel on this board, but it's still gonna win this matchup, which tells you something about the opponent. While great, sponsoring the Little League team, showing up at the chamber, being visible in your town, that stuff is both real and it does generate business, but you cannot effectively attribute it. You can't scale it past the hours you personally or your team has. And sometimes it can take years. SEO takes 6 to 9 months, and then it's an asset that you own that produces month in and month out, whether you're actively working on it or not. Now, you always should be, of course, but you're building out digital real estate that you're gonna own as a company. So the winner here, website and local SEO. All right, so now we're moving to the right side of the bracket. We have 2 versus 15, database reactivation versus door knocking. Nobody talks about the number 2 seed a lot, and it drives me crazy. Database reactivation means going back to the people who already paid you or people who never converted and moved forward with you, but they gave you their information. Email, text, and a phone call to every customer or potential customer for the last 5 years. 0 acquisition cost other than tech usage. They already trust you. They already know your price, and most contractors doing $1 million+ are sitting on 2, 3, sometimes 10,000 of these people that have never been reached out to more than once. Now, door knocking works. It's how a lot of contracting companies, especially roofers, those companies got built. But your ceiling is literally the number of humans you can pay to walk. Add revenue, add headcount, that's not a growth engine, that's a job. So the winner here is database reactivation. Then in the 7-10 matchup, we have strategic partnerships versus trucks and yard signs. With all of this, right? Partnerships means realtors, property managers, insurance adjusters, plumbers who don't do what you do. Those are warm pre-sold closes like a referral because it is a referral. Trucks and yard signs are the most underrated and cheap thing in the trades. You're already paying for the truck, wrapping it as a one-time cost that markets every day over the period of time. But it's ambient. It supports demand, but it doesn't create it. So the winner here is strategic partnerships. Now, moving on to the 6-11 matchup, we have Google LSA or local service ads versus AI search and visibility. This is the closest game in the round of 16, and I want to be honest with you about why. Local service ads, it sits above everything else on the page. You have that old structure, badge, or stamp of approval. You pay per lead instead of pay per click. It's high intent and it's instant on. The problems are real though. Lead quality has been sliding. You're sharing every lead with multiple companies and you have almost no control. You're renting it. You can get credits back when it's an irrelevant lead, but it's getting tougher to do so. With AI search showing up when somebody asks ChatGPT or Gemini who's the best HVAC company in Kansas City is the highest intent traffic I have ever seen. When it converts hard because the person shows up already having done the research and being told that you're the answer. The issue is the volume isn't there yet. Not at least in 2026. It's a real channel and it's growing fast. And for most contractors, it's still single-digit percentages of total lead flow. So the winner here, Google LSA, at least for now. I think if we look up in 2 to 3 years, AI search potentially is gonna win this matchup. And the people building for it today are gonna look like geniuses. So you start now, don't just fund it like it's your main channel. Real quick, if you're a contractor and your marketing isn't bringing in consistent leads, we can help. Book a free strategy session with Builders of Authority and we'll look at what's holding your growth back and how to fix it. Scan the QR code on the screen to grab your spot. All right, let's get back to the video. So, moving to the 3-14 matchup, the last matchup here in the round of 16, we have Google Search PPC, Google Ads, whatever you want to call it, versus lead aggregators, right? So the nice thing about PPC is it can get you to the front page of Google immediately. And with lead aggregators, you can start getting stuff in immediately. But with lead aggregators, you're buying a lead through a third-party system that a lot of times 3 or 4 competitors bought at the same time. So you're typically competing on price and speed to lead before you've even said a word. Your close rate will crater, your margins will crater, and you own nothing. You can spend 6 years on that platform, and if they turn you off or you stop paying, you have 0. Google PPC costs more because it's pay per click and wins anyway. Because you control the keyword, you control the landing page, you control the offer, you control the messaging, the lead is effectively yours. That's why Google PPC is gonna win here. So now moving on to the quarterfinals. We have Google Business Profile and Meta Ads, the 1 versus the 8 matchup. Intent versus interruption. The map pack catches people who already decided they need you. Meta creates demand in people who weren't looking. Meta is genuinely great for high ticket and longer sales cycle work. Roofs, remodels, windows, but head-to-head against the highest intent free real estate on the internet, it loses on cost per acquired job and it loses on close rate. So the winner here is Google Business Profile. Then we have the 5-4 matchup, referrals versus website and local SEO. Here's the upset most people won't expect from a marketing guy is that referrals are gonna beat SEO here. SEO is the better asset, but head-to-head referrals close today. They cost nothing and they close at 2 to 3 times the rate. SEO is 6 to 9 months from producing anything typically. In a single elimination bracket, the channel that pays this quarter wins. So the winner is referrals and word of mouth. Then we have database reactivation versus strategic partnerships. Both of these are warm. Both of them are gonna close high. Database wins because it's faster and it's yours. A partnership can end with 1 phone call when something else goes wrong or they find a new guy or gal that can do it cheaper. So the winner, database reactivation. Then we have LSA versus Google PPC. And this is a pretty big upset in my opinion that the 3 seed is gonna go out here in the quarters. Both of them are Google, both of them are paid, same searcher, and the 3 seed is going home. Now here's the case for PPC, and it's a real one. Control, keyword level bidding, your landing page, your offer, your marketing audience on paper, that's a better machine than LSA. But control is only an advantage if somebody is actually exercising it. And most contractor PPC accounts we look at are not being controlled. They're on performance max. They're bleeding budget into search terms the owner would never in a million years bid on, and nobody's opened the account in 6 months. Meanwhile, PPC is the single most expensive lead on this board. In competitive industries like HVAC, plumbing, and roofing markets, you're paying sometimes $30, $40, $50, $80, sometimes $100 a click. And you pay whether that lead called you or they bounce in 4 seconds. LSA, you pay per lead, so you don't fund the misclick, the wrong city, or the guy who's price shopping from 3 states away. And this is the part that decides it. On PPC, you're bidding against private equity-backed consolidators who will pay more for a customer than you can because they're not buying jobs, they're buying market share. You cannot outbid that. On LSA, right, it's completely different as you're paying per that lead, right? So the winner here is gonna be Google LSA, and the 3 seed is out. Now, to be fair to PPC, it wins this matchup all day if you've got a real operator on the account, a landing page that converts, something that can track all these things so you know your numbers, and enough margin to survive the learning period. That's 3 big what ifs though, and most contractors doing $1 million to $5 million don't have all 3 of these. All right, we made it here to the semifinals. We have Google Business Profile versus referrals. So GBP versus referrals, the 1-5 matchup. This is the game, and this is where the ceiling criteria earns its double rate. Referrals have the better close rate, referrals have the lower cost, referrals build the better business. If I could only pick one thing to be world class at, it would probably being so good that people talk about you only. But you can't turn referrals up, right? It's very, very difficult to do. You cannot make referrals happen this week. You have to wait. You have to, right? With the Google Business Profile, you can work today, right? Get 12 reviews this week, post to the profile, fix your categories, add your service areas, load up photos. That moves the needle. So the winner here is Google Business Profile. And I want to be really clear. That's not me saying referrals don't matter. That's me saying you cannot get from 1 million to 5 million on a channel you don't necessarily control. And the other matchup, we have the 2 versus the 6. We have database reactivation versus Google LSA. Same argument as the other semi, opposite direction, and this one does hurt. Database reactivation has the best return on investment on this board that's left. It is basically free money, and I will die on that hill, but it has a hard ceiling. And that ceiling is a number you already know, how many customers or names of people you have ever had. Mail them all, and you're done until you get more. LSA's ceiling isn't your list. It's your service area's demand and how much budget you're able to allocate to that. And most of you haven't even touched the opportunity on that. So the winner here is Google LSA. Notice, I just used the exact same logic to knock out the channel with the best return on the board. And that's not me being inconsistent. That's the criteria doing its job in both directions. So to wrap things up, we have the 3rd place and the final. 3rd place is referrals over database reactivation. Referrals close higher, and unlike your customer list, they never run out. Honestly, they're the best business on this board. They're just the hardest to command. So now going into the final, we have Google Business Profile versus Google Local Service Ads. And I love this final because look at where these 2 live. Same search, same page. LSA is the block at the very top. GBP is the map pack right underneath it. Same person, same moment, same intent. One of them bills you per lead, the other one is free. That's it. That's the whole tie break. GBP delivers the same intent LSA does at a fraction of the cost, and it scales on review velocity, service area coverage, and how well you actually run the profile, none of which have an invoice attached to it. LSA is the toll road that runs alongside the free one. So your champion here of the World Cup of contractor lead gen is the Google Business Profile. Now, the caveat, because I'm not going to let you walk away with the wrong lesson. So what this actually means. Here's the thing about brackets. They're single elimination. Your business isn't. The real answer is that these channels stack. The reason GBP wins is the same reason it doesn't work alone. It converts demand that already exists. Something has to create that demand, your trucks, your reviews, your referrals, your video, your community presence. All of that is why they picked up your map listing instead of the other 3. So the honest playbook out of this bracket looks like this. Fix your GBP first. It's free, it's fast, it's the highest intent asset that you'll ever own. If your profile is a mess, nothing else matters. Mail your database this month. It costs almost nothing and it'll pay for the rest of this list. Turn on paid where the ceiling is. LSA before PPC, pay per lead before you pay per click. Only add PPC when you've got someone actually genuinely managing the account, not just funding it. Build the assets that compound underneath it: SEO, owner-led video, partnerships. Slow, but they lower the cost of everything above them. Never stop the referral engine. It's third on this board, and it's still the best revenue inside of your business. And the one thing nobody's gonna say out loud, if your team isn't answering the phone and following up in 5 minutes or less, none of these 16 matter. You don't have a lead problem then, you have a lead handling problem. That's an entire different video for another time. So, would love to hear your feedback on this video. Tell me what I got wrong, specifically what seed did I blow? What would you have ranked it? Give me your trade and your market, because a roofer in Dallas and a plumber in Cleveland are gonna see this bracket completely different. And that's the whole point. I wanted to offer some generalization to hopefully help you understand, in my opinion, what I believe is working today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share this content on social media. There's a link to book a call with us, discovery call, free audit if you're interested, in the link description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you next week.